Hello and welcome to the Federals Live. The reunion of Uddhav Thackeray and Raj Thackeray on Sunday, 2 decades after their bitter fallout, was a high profile political event that drew that drew attention within and beyond Maharashtra. But the Congress's absence, despite an invite, has raised questions about alliance chemistry and internal unease within the MDA. To talk more on this, I have my colleague Puneet Nicholas Yadav with me. Puneet, thank you for joining me. My first question to you is: the Congress was invited to the reunion of the Thackeray cousins, Uddhav and Raj, but did not send any representative. So why the absence?
Yeah, thanks, Nisha. Yes, I mean, that is correct. They were invited. The Congress was given an invitation, as was the NCP, Sharad Pawar, and Supriya Sule and other NCP leaders did attend the event. And while nobody from the Congress, whether from the AICC, the center, or from Maharashtra Congress or even the Mumbai Regional Congress, none of those leaders attended it. And it has naturally raised questions on why the absence. As one understands, I think there are primarily, there are three dilemmas here for the Congress to deal with. One, uh, in any case, when the Shiv Sena decided 5 years ago to ally with the Congress, it was always considered to be an unnatural alliance because of the kind of politics that the Shiv Sena is known for. Many people, even back then, raised questions on whether a party that talks openly, professes openly about its commitment to Hindutva, which has one of its main planks, the Marathi chauvinism, the regionalism of Marathi Manus, and all of that, whether that can fit well with the Congress. Now, of course, that was a party that was very different from the original Shiv Sena because Uddhav did try to give a very different direction to the Shiv Sena, which kind of uh, made the whole Marathi Manus and Hindutva rhetoric take a backseat. But Sunday's event brings Raj Thackeray back into the fold. And of course, Raj Thackeray and Uddhav Thackeray did have a very bitter fallout, which led to, Raj Thackeray walking out of the Shiv Sena because Uddhav was seen as the heir apparent to Bal Thackeray. And Raj was, went and formed his own party, the Maharashtra, the MNS. And the MNS never really took off. So now, in that sense, for the Shiv Sena, yes, the Thackeray's have come together. Whether it helps the Shiv Sena rebuild itself after the other split it faced because of the Eknath Shinde camp walking out, one will have to wait and see. But Raj Thackeray brings with him a certain style of politics, and we've seen that pan out over the last few weeks, where people who refused to speak in Marathi were being bashed up. His very hardline position against the migrants working in Maharashtra who do not speak Marathi, that is widely well known. His thing for Marathi language being given preference over any other, against Hindi imposition and all those issues, that is also well known. And so is the overall character of the MNS and Raj Thakeray's politics, which is more to do with a style that one would consider to be very ruffian like and bashing up people and all of that. Now that is what Raj Thackeray comes with. In that background, for the Congress, there are three issues, as I said. One, uh, in Maharashtra and particularly in Bombay, where these things are going to pan out much at a much grander scale, perhaps. The Bombay Municipal Corporation or the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation elections are likely to happen very soon. They're scheduled to happen soon. And the Maharashtra Congress, as well as the Mumbai Regional Congress Committee, they have been saying that we need to contest, as we always do, we need to contest the BMC elections without any alliance, nor with Sharad Pawar, nor with Uddhav Thackeray. We need to go solo. And that isn't a first. They generally have contested the BMC elections on their own. Now, in that scenario, if they were seen as being affiliated openly with, the Thackeray reunion, with Raj Thackeray on the stage, and some other Congress leader being present there are sections in Bombay, entire municipal constituencies, which are dominated by North Indians, by migrants from Bihar, from UP, who not necessarily Marathi speaking. So, what is the message that the Congress then sends across to them if they can't be seen on one side with the Thackerays who are advocating Marathi as being compulsory, not just for education, but even to speak in public. And on the other hand, you say that we're here to protect your interests. So, the two don't get. The other dilemma is, how do you then campaign in Bihar, where elections are due in November? Because that is one state which sends the maximum migrant population to Maharashtra for work. And we've seen in the past, even the Shiv Sena, during Bal Thackre's time, the early years of the Shiv Sena, and then, of course, Raj Thackeray, of Bihari migrants being bashed up in Maharashtra for not being Marathi Manus. So, with that kind of an alliance, what do you go and tell the people in Bihar when you ask for their votes? That's the second dilemma. The third is, I think, a very, I can go into details about this later, but this thing of being a national party for the Congress, where you also have to, not just cater, address national issues, but also balance that with state issues. So it is a very difficult balancing act for the Congress. And I think that would have weighed very heavily on the leadership. And they finally decided that we're not going to send a representative for this. It does not mean that the MVA is crumbling. Uh, let's be very clear on that, because I think they will also look at the fact that they need Uddhav. The Congress does need Uddhav in Maharashtra. They are in a completely down and out, battered situation since the Maharashtra Assembly elections. So they do need to keep the alliance intact. But to what extent will they accommodate a hardline attitude of Raj Thackeray will be a big
That
test
was
for the
supposed to be
Congress.
my next question, Puneet.
Yeah,
Will the reunion test the stability of the opposition's MVA coalition, considering, like you rightly mentioned now, Raj Thackeray's hardline in oppositions against Hindi imposition and migrants?
yeah. So that certainly, and I mean, it's not so much as a test for the Sharad Pawar's NCP, but for the Congress, and because there are many issues on which ideologically the Shiv Sena and the Congress cannot be on the same plank. For instance, Rahul Gandhi's repeated stance on Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, who the Shiv Sena will always address as Veer Savarkar, and Rahul and the Congress leadership at the center projects Savarkar as this man who sent mercy petitions, as a coward who betrayed the freedom movement and all of that. Whereas uh, in Maharashtra, the Shiv Sena, the BJP, they've built Savarkar up as a martyr, a son of the soil who fought for India and all of that. And that's been a cause of friction. Every time Rahul has made some comments against Savarkar, there has been a backlash from the Shiv Sena. And that this precedes even Thackeray, Raj Thackeray's return to, the Shiv Sena fold. So that's one example. The other is, as I said, Marathi imposition, or the anti-Hindi imposition stance. Then your attitude towards Bihari migrants. The Congress, naturally, being a national party, it has stakes in other states beyond Maharashtra. It can't get tied down to issues of Maharashtra and say that, okay, we're going to take a different stand in Maharashtra and a different one elsewhere when it comes to issues of, the basic ideological clarity on what defines an inclusive India for the Congress. Does an inclusive India mean that you're going to be silent when you know people are bashed up for speaking in Hindi, or you're going to speak up against that and risk alienating the Marathi-speaking population? Uh, so it is difficult. So within the MVA coalition, I, as I said, I don't think the coalition will sort of crumble, because just as the Congress needs Uddhav, Uddhav also needs the Congress. There are various parts and large parts of Maharashtra where the Shiv Sena is not really a major electoral force, while the Congress is. So if the Shiv Sena dreams of rebuilding itself and coming back to power at some stage, they will need an ally that can give them, the numbers in areas where they are not present. So it is also a compulsion to stay together. But yes, it will also at the same time test the stability of the alliance, because Raj Thackeray is not known to hold back his views. He's not known to be a cautious public speaker. Even the day that he returned, on Sunday, uh, he made an interesting point where he said, because these videos had been coming in the public domain of MNS people going and bashing up people for speaking in Hindi or not speaking in Marathi. And Raj Thackeray said that, you can go and beat up people, but don't make the video yourself. Let people who have been beaten up go and talk about it. So I mean, that's not the kind of politics that the Congress will be comfortable with. So it is going to be a test for the MVA to that extent. Whether it starts testing the unity of the alliance, that I'm not very sure, because there are also compulsions for all these three parties to stay together for their own political future. It is opportunistic, of course, but it's also pragmatic and practical for political and electoral purposes.
Uh, you've already answered a bit, you've brushed a bit on the answer for my next question, but still, let's get into detail. Is balancing narratives between emotive, state specific issues and national issues a challenge for the Congress?
Certainly. You see, it's interesting because if you compare the Congress's situation with the other national party and its main rival, the BJP, the BJP has not been able to make inroads in, say, a Tamil Nadu or a Kerala, uh, primarily because it's seen as this party that looks as India as, as a country where there has to be one everything, one nation, one election, one language, one constitution. Everything has to be uniform. Whereas the Congress ideologically has always been this party which talks about, from the perspective of Nehru and Gandhi, of diversity, of inclusion, of uh, letting diversity thrive, but finding common ground wherever one can to keep the country united. That's been their ideological plan. Now the problem there for the Congress is, just like the BJP is unable to make, uh, if it goes to Tamil Nadu and starts talking in Hindi, the BJP isn't accepted, right? Uh, Similarly, and it's always lambasted for, this Hindi party, Hindi belt party. There was a time when it was lambasted for being a Brahman Banya, upper caste party, even in the north. That, of course, has changed, but its entry into the south has largely been restricted also because of this one size fits all politics that they do. The Congress, on the other hand, has kind of tried historically to keep a balance between all of these, conflicting issues because of the diverse nature of this country. But in the current scenario, where these have all become, and at a state level, very emotive issues. So when in Tamil Nadu, a DMK says, uh, you know, something which can be construed as being anti-Hindi, for the Congress, where its main contests with the BJP are all in the Hindi heartland states of Bihar, of MP, Rajasthan, UP, Haryana, Chhattisgarh, the Congress goes in a bind, gets in a bind, because whose side can the Congress take? Can it take the side of Tamil, or does it take the side of Hindi imposition? That becomes a difficulty. Similar thing would pan
Similarly, the
out
Kaveri issue
in
also,
Maharashtra.
Karnataka.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Karnataka, the same thing. So
the
like for instance, and there are political leaders from each of these states who will say things because in their particular state, it may suit them. So recently, you had this whole uproar over Kamal Hassan, making that statement about Kannada. Now, Kannada and Tamil. And there was a huge backlash from Karnataka, from Kannadigas, which is, of course, a Congress ruled state. And the Congress central leadership just kept mum throughout, because Kamal Hassan, at the end of the day, is an ally. He's being sent to the Rajya Sabha, he's been sent to the Rajya Sabha by the DMK, backed by the DMK. He has been part of Rahul's Bharat Jodo Yatra, all of that. So the Congress just didn't know what to do with the controversy, so they just kept quiet. Similarly, on this whole Marathi thing that Raj Thackeray has been doing over the last few days, you wouldn't have seen any major statement coming from Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, Sonia Gandhi, any of the central leaders, because they just don't know whether they want to please people, the Marathi speaking people in Maharashtra, or they want to just keep their Hindi belt secure, which anyway they've been crumbling in. So it is very difficult, the whole national versus state, because state issues, whether we like it or not, over the last 11 years especially, because of this whole constant political awareness about the attack on federalism by the BJP, state issues have become very emotive. And so, in states where there are regional outfits which deal with those emotive issues of the state, whether it is with regard to language or culture or your eating habits or your dressing habits, whatever, for the Congress, it's always going to be a problem, because you can talk of inclusivity, you can talk of diversity, all of that, which is your core ideology. But at the same time, you also need to cater to that lot of voters which believe that, fine, my language is under threat, my culture is under threat. So how do you strike that balance? And that is where I think the Congress's main failure has been, that they've not been able to take a nuanced line. And their politics also is sort of turning into a very one size fits all thing, where Rahul Gandhi says, okay, we're only going to talk about Samvidhan. Okay, so and that is like all inclusive. So whether it is striking a chord at the grassroots anymore or not, it did in the Lok Sabha elections, but subsequently in the assembly elections it did not. But Rahul has still gone ahead with the same pitch. So it is kind of turning into a similar kind of a thing. Of course, the contours of it, the repercussions of the Congress's one size fits all are nothing when you compare them to what the BJP's politics is all about. But it is very difficult for the Congress, and I think with Raj Thackre's return to the Shiv Sena, Maharashtra aside, they were already dealing with a difficult, the Congress with a difficult situation when it came to Tamil Nadu and Tamil and Hindi and all of that, or with Karnataka, and again because Karnataka again, even though Siddaramaiah is with the Congress, their tallest leader in the state and the chief minister, but he has taken a very firm position on Kannada being the language for Karnataka. So nationally, it puts the Congress in a very tough spot. And I think that's where their failure is. They've not been able to come up with a nuanced line that expresses what the party believes, uh, addresses both concerns of the state as well as, the concerns of its own core ideology.
Thank you for your inputs, Puneet. Viewers, for more such updates, stay tuned with the Federal.